And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, a brand new week, and of course, a short week as of that, because Easter weekend coming up this early this year with this leap year. We'll do 5 shows coming up this week, so Thursday, and of course, take Friday off for Good Friday, and of course, next Monday for April Fool's Day. But pleased to welcome on here to our friends at KKTC True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado, and of course, HighTideCountry.net, and powered by the SportsGuys Podcast.com. 3 guys I learned about a few weeks ago, and I said, absolutely great fit for this podcast and, of course, for the radio stations out there. The new album is Unbroken across all these streaming platforms. The gentleman from Due West, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, glad to be here, Brandon.
Good to see you, man. Well, let's talk about this. You guys were different backgrounds. I love this. Met in Nashville. I love the stories of how this goes. Probably appreciated all the 90s country greats. How did this happen, and how did you form this group called Due West?
Well, if you're into country music at all, no matter where you live, you got to end up in Nashville. And luckily, I ended up in the same room as these guys from the West. So
it's funny you talk about the 90s country thing, and that played a role in us meeting, because I was here in Hendersonville. We got invited to a party where everybody's passing the guitar around and singing songs. And every time I got to Tim, he'd start singing something that Brad and I knew from that era, the 90s stuff, Shenandoah and Restless Heart and Diamond Rio and Sawyer Brown, on and on and on. But so we loved his taste in music, and we happened to know the songs. And so we just started singing harmony with him. And then people showed up later to that party, and they were like, man, you guys' band is really tight. You guys have obviously been together for a long time. You guys just sound great. And we're like, we just met him like 2 hours ago. We just clicked that instantly. So,
well, and the guy from Diamond Rio, 90s country guy, invited us all to the party. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dan Truman was the one that kind of started that whole thing for sure.
That's a cool thing, too. And that's the appreciation I have for that era, because we talked to so many greats here on the program, and even before that, too, the Oak Ridge Boys and Restless Heart, Shenandoah. You mentioned good friends of Marty Raybon, myself, and love his sound. And the appreciation, I think there's a lot of guys out there right now, bands, solo artists, that are really trying to bring that sound back. Would you agree?
I always think, yes.
It seems so, yeah. And we hope that we're on the forefront of that. It's the music we love. We love harmony. We love those great bands. And again, hopefully our music is different enough that it sticks its head out and people, it kind of throws them back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it too, because lyrically, I love this album. There's a lot of different angles we could go with it too, because it's so much of that steel guitar and that pedal steel, and you got just the guitars really do it. You guys harmonies. Talk about this when it came out February 23rd, which for me, I was like, you know what? Get to check out a new album on my birthday, which was out there too. So Trip Around the Sun, which I loved it. And
well, we put it out.
We picked your birthday to put it out.
Well, you picked a great date, no doubt about it, February 23rd. Yeah. And it just has a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I love the fact that you can take a song like somebody's Somewhere and start there, and I always think it's important to start a record with a great song, song like that, because it really sets the tone for the rest of the album.
So glad that you picked up on that. That's exactly why we picked that song. It's got that great pedal steel lick. That's Dan Dugmore, the iconic, legendary pedal steel player that's been around in the business for a long time. And he played that part in the studio for us. And you're absolutely right. We were hoping that would be the reaction. Is it sets the tone. It's like, okay, here you are, 42 minutes of country and Western music with that pedal steel just weaving in and out the whole album all the way through.
And another thing we might have done a little backwards is we released the album first, and we didn't even have a single in mind. We just knew that album was an experience, and we kind of missed that. It's been missed in the music genre for the last 10 years anyway. The whole album process. So we hope that is a good thing in this thing that we've done.
Yeah.
We got to play one this morning on KKTC out there too. The second track off there, Right Amount of Wrong. Let's kind of dive into that one a little bit too, and tell a little story, because I know every song has a great story, and this one probably right up there with the rest of the tunes on that record.
Well, this every song on the album was written by the producer and our friend, the legendary Dean Dillon, and he is songwriter. He is songwriter royalty, really. And he invited us out to his house in Springfield, Tennessee. And he just kind of, he's got the handlebar mustache and thing, and he just kind of does it. He thinks a lot, and he talks real deliberately. And he goes, boys, I've got an idea about a woman having the right amount of wrong. And we just, he kept banging out on his guitar, trying to figure out how to make these weird chords happen. and how to connect them, because they weren't real. It wasn't a real orthodox chord progression, and it just turned out. And we started singing on top of it, and he goes, "That's it," and I don't know.
I think, that song, I think, definitely helped shape the sound, the overall sound
Yes.
of the album. And Dean had that vision. You know, as you may know, we've been making records since 05, 06. And but Dean had a different vision, that we really hadn't gone in that direction, more of that Southwestern flair. And I think Right Amount of Wrong, once we got that one penned, he was like, that's the sound of the record. And we kind of tried to shape everything and model everything after that sound and that vibe, even lyrically.
I wanted to ask each of you about songwriting, because it seems like it's more of that hot topic these days. No matter what show you watch or what artist you listen to or band, no matter what genre of music, it's so important to have that hook in a song and being able to go through the proper steps to, create that penmanship. You just see something really come from nothing and have those ideas. For each of you, I know you probably bring a little bit of everything to the table when it comes to songwriting. Talk about each of your processes.
Go ahead.
Well, Tim, go ahead. I'll let you start.
Well, a lot of times my process is I like to come in with ideas, sometimes a melody and a verse, and you bring those ideas to a session. But with these guys, a lot of times we all have something, and we just start singing what everybody's brought, and we pick the best one, and we bring that first to the session. And that seemed to work with Dean, because he jumped right in and brought his genius to each song. But that's kind of how the process goes for us. I think we got to pick the best melody that fits us out of the songs that we've brought into the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing also that sets this album apart, at least in my mind, is, to your point, up to this point in our careers, songwriting, especially once we had signed pub deals and we were getting outside cuts and different things, it became a lot about that hook and about the clever, catchy title and the hooky thing lyrically and this and that. And you're kind of chasing the commerciality of songwriting. And you'll hear a lot of songwriters talk about that, especially guys that have been in the industry for a while. This album felt different because Dean doesn't really write that way. If you look at his catalog of songs, but for sure, you're going to find things, like that are obviously giant hits, but he doesn't chase necessarily a clever, catchy catchphrase or title. And if you look at all 12 songs on this album, that's one of the things that kind of makes it a little interesting when it comes to picking a single, because typically you're looking for the one that's got the big impact. When they get to the hook, it's like, it's a big reveal or whatever. And there are a couple of those moments ish on this album, but for the most part, it's all about a vibe. And musically and lyrically, it's just kind of painting these pictures. And there really isn't these, commercial payoff moments. And that was a departure for us, I think, especially for me. We wanted to, early on in this, to try to capture that. And of course, though, we were in the room with Dean Dillon, and you're like,
let him lead
out. And there were moments where I was like, I don't know if we got a really strong hook. And but it didn't matter, because he had captured those vibes, and that's what I love about this album.
Well, and when you're writing a song, I think the most important thing for me is to find something, whether it is a lyric or a melody, that's inspiring, that will drive that writing session to become what it can become. And it really is about art and expression, but it's about finding something inspiring. And it seemed like every time we wrote with Dean, there was always something inspiring there,
Yeah.
Well, and one last thing I'll say about that too, was an interesting thing, is Brad mentioned the chord structures and stuff. Dean's musically a genius as well as lyrically and vibe wise, but he was coming up with all these different chord progressions that typically don't happen, at least not in anything that we would be writing or even hearing. And so part of the writing for Brad and I as the harmony singers, Tim got to learn the melody, but here you've got these melodies weaving over these interesting chord choices. So to try to write the harmonies, and that's often not something that you think about when you're talking about songwriting, like you're thinking about melody and lyrics and whatever, but having to write the harmonies was completely up to Brad and I. And it was like, good luck, boys. Here's 9 chords throughout the song. Go try to figure out the harmonies for it. That was fun. It was a fun challenge.
It was.
I love the word inspire, because we hear it so much through songwriting. Inspiration is the key, no doubt, to just, make somebody feel something. And like you said, just get them to listen to more than one song or 2 songs off the record. Get into what I get to do. I love listening to albums and listen to 10, 12 songs in a day for like 2 or 3 albums. That's not uncommon for me to be able to do something like that too. Well, I know you guys have a couple of performances for us today from the record Unbroken, group Due West. What What's up first?
Let's do
Only Heart Unbreaking?
no, let's do
Somebody-
Do All You're Leaving.
Yeah, do all you leave. Do all you leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
do you mind if I sit down, Brandon?
No, go for it. Hey, man, we all got to sit down, no doubt.
So this one kind of is poking his head up as a possible single. What track is this?
Track 3.
Track 3 on the album, or
4,
4,
5.
something like that. Anyway, the song's called
Yeah.
"Do All You're Leaving." Tim brought us this one, this idea.
Yeah, I was watching some Crystal Gale YouTube videos, and she said something like this: "Do all you're leaving while you're gone." So we brought this to the album.
2, 3, 4.
Times you come and go. Use this heart for a stepping stone. 1,000 times I've watched you walk away. But worse than that, you walk back in. Time and time and time again. Time to win the hoping that you stay. Do all you're leaving while you're gone. Don't bring your goodbye lies back with you when you come back home. Don't hang me out to dry. Expect me to keep hanging on and do all you're leaving while you're gone. I define insanity is what I let you do to me, expecting the day will come. On a front porch that I left on won't be lit when you get home. And if you think that he will fit you wrong, do all you're leaving while you're gone. Don't bring your goodbye lies back with you when you come back home. Don't hang me out to dry. Expect me to keep hanging on and do all you're leaving while you're gone. Don't bring your goodbye lies back with you when you come back home. Don't hang me out to dry. Expect me to keep hanging on and do all you're leaving while you're gone. While you're gone.
That's it right there, boy. If you don't like country music, I guess there's no hope for you right there. Because that's what it was like from the No, I appreciate everything too, but boy, you can really appreciate a song like that. Do All You're Leaving off the album Unbroken from the guys from Due West here. We got to take a timeout. We're due for that timeout, no pun intended there too, which is great there too. Come back. We'll talk about our friends Jewelry by Tommy. If you're interested in getting some for your spouse, friend, family member, Jewelry by Tommy's got you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. It's handcrafted, handmade. It's jewelry by our friends over at Jewelry by Tommy, our good friend Tommy Burley. Quick timeout. More with the guys from Due West. Stay tuned.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley-Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
The Caden Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, 7 nights a week out there, KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends out there, HighTideCountry.net. Sweet 16 set in college basketball, Clemson, Arizona, San Diego State, UConn, Alabama, North Carolina, and Illinois and Iowa State. First 4 games will take place this Thursday night. And, of course, Friday, the other 4 games. Who's going to win the national championship? I like my money on Connecticut. Back here with the guys from Due West here on the Backstage Pass, and also powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com, too. The new album is Unbroken, across all those digital platforms. I want to ask you about this, and this is just another one of my favorite songs off there, too. You mentioned the writing Dean Dillon has done for this album. I Get Those Baby Blues. Now, if that's not a country song, I don't know what is, right?
Man, you try being there that day. He picks his guitar, starts playing this melody, and then starts singing this thing over top. You kind of had the idea already. We were the same as you. Whoa.
That's the beautiful part.
Cool song. Yeah, it was cool to be in the room for that.
Scotty Emmerich was on that.
And Scotty
Emmerich
was on that.
Scotty's a great songwriter and a dear friend of Dean's and ours. And yeah, Scotty had that cool guitar part that, of course, made the record as well. And then Brad had to learn it. So, but
tell us a little bit about, speaking of Unbroken, but also Unbroken Horses was on their track 7. Tell me about that one.
That's one of 2 on the 12-song album that we didn't have any part in writing. So Dean wrote that.
With Jeremy Spillman.
Yeah, Jeremy Spillman, and had played that at some rounds and stuff that we had heard him sing it. And, of course, every time he sings that song live, every artist was like, oh, my gosh, that song's so great. I got to cut that. And he came to us and says, boys, you want to put this on the project? He says, I think it fits. And we were like, duh. So we recorded Unbroken Horses and You Can't. Those are the 2 that we didn't have any part in writing, but we were, of course, honored and jumped at the chance to have 2 more Dean Dillon songs on that thing.
We got Outside songs.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's great. And that's the ones that I remember George Strait used to say back in his career, back in my early SA radio days too, looking back and just reading stuff in music and the appreciation of it. He goes, I got all my hits recording somebody else's stuff, not what I wrote.
That's exactly right.
That's right. Well, and of course, George, all his hits were Dean Dillon songs.
Dean Dillon songs, exactly right too, no doubt. I got a chance to check out also, of course, all the songs are off there Unbroken, the album, but Flying Blind. Let's dive into that one.
Oh yeah, that is something that it kind of came to life. That was that same writing session as I Get Those Baby Blues.
Mm-hmm.
It was us with Scotty Emmerich and Dean. Scotty again started playing something. I think it was his idea, and we started doing that one. But you know what? There was something special about the chords and the lyrics of that song. But it really came to life in the studio when they started this kind of Glenn Campbell vibe to it or something. And then we actually we always had the thought that it needed a harmonica on it. We couldn't get a hold of a harmonica player. It seems like it would be an easy thing to do in Nashville, but it's not. And finally, we Googled and said, well, let's look up if there's a harmonica player that we can get a hold of. A website came up that said the most recorded harmonica player in music history, Charlie McCoy. So we reached out to him on his website. He said, I'd love to. He's 80 years old.
Wow.
He showed up to the studio and played that masterfully and told us some of the most amazing stories of playing, on Willie Nelson records and Johnny Cash and Brenda Lee and all these crazy, amazing stories.
I had the foresight to pull my phone out and start videoing when he was telling those stories. If you go to our YouTube and your listeners, go check out our YouTube, and there's a video on there that's got Charlie McCoy up in our studio here telling all these amazing stories. And it was definitely an honor to have, because he's now 2 Country Music Hall of Fame legends on this album, Dean being one and Charlie being the other. And so, yeah, Flying Blind is one of my personal favorites. I think it sounds different than definitely anything that we've ever done, but anything on the album as well. Yeah. And I love it. And I'm excited for folks to hear that song for sure.
Yeah, definitely listen to everything on there, man. Don't just stop at one track, because when you listen to one, you're going to listen to all 12 on there too. Unbroken is the album from the group Due West. Hey, one more performance, and we'll do a little rapid fire. Go back with a series of questions. Of course, take a timeout after the performance. What's up next, fellas?
I love how you keep saying this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites.
It is. I can't deny it.
Favorites too. So many. This is called Only Heart I'm Breaking.
There we go.
2, 3.
I'm a fool for a weak moment, so I need that midnight call, and I hurt me all over. Like I don't love me at all. It's like beating my head up against the door. Why do I keep coming back for more? There's always one more, one last time, and the only heart I'm breaking is mine. I'm better off than on you, baby. A cleaner life without the pain. The devil's storm when lightning strikes. You spin me round, round like a weather vane. It's like beating my head up against the door. Why do I keep coming back for more? There's always one more, one last time, and the only heart I'm breaking is mine. I admit that I'm addicted to a love no good for me. I can't find my way out of the rain, much less the misery. Why do I gotta keep coming back? Why do I gotta keep going? Why do I gotta keep coming back? Why do do I gotta keep going? Why do I gotta keep coming back? Why do I gotta keep going? Why do I gotta keep coming back? Tell me, why do I gotta keep going? It's like beating my head up against the door. Why do I keep coming back for more? There's always one more, one last time. The only heart I'm breaking is mine. I'm a fool for a weak moment, so I make that midnight call, and I hurt me all over. Yes, I don't love me at all.
Love it, man. I'm telling you guys, get this album if you haven't already. Unbroken from the boys from Due West out there, man. It's just, I'm gonna highly endorse it. Stick behind it because I'm telling you right now, pure, authentic, and to the core country music 90s sound. You got a little bit of everything for all the listeners out there too as well. And I never lead you wrong when it comes to just good old straight up country music. Quick time out here too. Coming back with the boys from Due West. Final segment coming up. We'll get into a little rapid fire and maybe some sports talk. Yeah, never know here. The Sports Guys podcast.com, KKTC True Country 99.9, and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. Back in a flash.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
The Kate and Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at theKateandGordonShow.com. Again, that is theKateandGordonShow.com.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with the guys from Due West, KKTC True Country 99.9, and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. So I mentioned their March Madness. I got caught up in the madness last night with Houston playing Texas A&M. Now I'm an Aggie fan, being from Texas down here too, but you couldn't go wrong with watching both teams, kind of battle it out. Didn't think it would take 100 points, but that's the tournament for you right now. It's pretty much a dog-eat-dog type world. It's one and done type mentality. Coaches have to have, players ready to play, and players have to be ready mentally and physically to play in a grueling tournament. Do you guys get caught up in March Madness?
A little
Negative.
bit.
I'd be the one that would probably get
A little bit. I've had some lot going on with birthdays this weekend, so I've missed most of it. But I'm going for Arizona.
Okay, there you go. That's my home away from
Everybody
home.
always ask me if I got my bracket. I don't know what that means.
I like Connecticut. I mentioned the last segment too. I know they're playing, like I said, leaps and bounds above others. But hey, it's going to be a fun tournament. Only really a couple upsets so far, with Oakland beating Kentucky, and I know Auburn got beat by Yale, so the Ivy League school too. But at the same time, you got your higher seeds advance. Hadn't been really that. It's been a fun tournament, but a lot of upsets like we've seen in years past. So it's always a fun thing. All right,
is Alabama still alive?
Alabama's still alive. Yes, sir, they are. They are still alive.
I'll just have to say Roll Tide then. Just
Roll Tide.
I wore my crimson. That's right.
That's it. It's a good color.
So you got to say something about Auburn. If Auburn and Alabama,
my niece goes to school there, so Roll Tide. There you go too. I'm also a fan of that at the same time. There's no doubt. Football. For me, it's the Arizona Cardinals. Is it Tennessee Titans for you guys?
Yes, it is.
It's hard to be a Titans fan, man. I'll say that on the record. It is hard to be a Titans fan. I'm hoping to do some major resetting, and
I think we're picked to be last this year.
Yeah,
and we're just going to have to roll with it.
See, I've always been a Houston Oilers fan.
There you go. See, right there. That's what I grew up with. Yep. Down
I
here
grew
from
up in
Houston.
Arizona, so I was a Cardinals fan early on, but being out here in Tennessee for the last 23 years, I've adopted Tennessee.
I tell you what, like I said, for me it was Oilers, then it became Cowboys, 90s Cowboys with Jimmy Johnson.
Oh yeah.
After that fiasco went down, of course, and you kind of get away from Aikman, Emmett to Irvin to Novacek to all those great days. And for me, it was just kind of like Texans came back, Tennessee takes the football team, all this timeline stuff, and then we get the Texans, and of course they go through some decent years. And for me, it was like when Kyler Murray got drafted, I kind of just went with Kyler Murray too, because it was a Texas kid. And also the connection there, won a Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma. So just love Kyler Murray, the way he plays the game of football. And I can respect, what they're doing now with the kind of the Detroit Lion philosophy. So hopefully in the next few years, we're a lot better.
I think you just inspired a song, Brandon. I just had a song idea as you were talking. The title is going to be something along the lines of 90s Cowboys, 90s Bulls, 90s Country.
I like that. No, be on the lookout.
And 90s was the 90s Bulls for a while. You wouldn't know they were talking NBA and NFL.
NBA, exactly. Chicago Bulls and the great Michael Jordan do that. The greatest basketball player of all time, arguably the best, the greatest of all time.
No
Not afraid to admit that. Baseball, do you guys get caught up? I know with MLB starting this week. I mean, I'm a huge Astros fan. Who's your team?
He's been a Braves fan forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a Giants fan. I loved Will Clark. I loved Kevin Mitchell, all those guys. But as soon as Barry Bonds came around, I was like, I'm out on the Giants. I followed Ken Griffey Jr. over to Cincinnati, and I kind of became a Reds fan, and that's where I landed.
Brad could tell you so much about baseball trivia. They would blow your mind.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
They've got a good young team this year. The Reds are expected to do very well.
I hope so.
Ellie De La Cruz, fun player to watch out there too. And Matt McClain, they just got a lot of good young players. I love watching them too. And David Bell is a guy that I followed his father's path, Buddy Bell, for many years in baseball too, as a manager, as a player, and just that Bell family is awesome to see out there. All right, when you guys are away from music, either individually or as a group, what do you like to do for fun?
Relax, lay on the couch and binge watch shows.
I like to shoot slingshots.
I was going to say he's a hunter and a hunter.
He'll bring his slingshot everywhere, and we'll look out there. He's over there in the parking lot shooting cans and shooting stuff.
I like to watch baseball games. I've been to 23 stadiums of the major league stadiums. I enjoy doing that.
I love it.
And what do you do in your time off?
Time off. I mean, I'll travel out to Arizona, watch the Cardinals, enjoy the baseball, spend time with my daughter. She's real young. In fact, we're going to take her to a soccer playoff game tonight for just kind of high schools, supporting high schools in the area too that are going to the playoffs, and one's locally here. And just kind of, hey, just a family man, huge family man. Love him.
Good music.
That's right. And you listen to
it's that too. It's not a job. Somebody's got to do it. But it is. And I love it. I got a chance to listen to, 2 albums a day for different artists. There's nothing wrong with that. 10, 12, 15 songs. And just do a lot of great interviews, which is great out there too. All right. For me, I finally had Hattie B's. To Nashville. Loved it. Worth the wait out the door. Is that a go-to restaurant? What are some other go-to restaurants for y'all?
It's good, but it's like you gotta know what you are. Are you a mild or are you what the cluck?
Hey, I did have medium though, because medium was a little bit above that, so I did try that. But I got to go
mild.
Stick with mild. Okay, the medium was actually pretty good. It was actually not too spicy.
It's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Prince's is another good one. Brad
Prince's,
knows all the hot
yeah.
chicken places around
Well, a
here.
lot of them have closed down recently, but I used to go to a place called Pepper Fire. That was my favorite, but they moved across town. So yeah, I love Hattie B's. It's always good.
I think the
I
hype of
love
hot chicken,
chicken.
yeah, the hype of hot chicken that has taken over the country is well deserved. I think it's
Oh
about
yeah,
everybody starts, appreciating Nashville hot chicken for sure.
Not just Buffalo.
That's right.
There's another one. The one we eat at the most is because the only time we eat hot chicken is in the airport
That's true.
on our way flying out to a gig. So we always hit Party Foul.
that's a good one.
That's
Yeah,
That's a good one too. So
that's a good one.
Nashville Airport's something to check out. Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, you can go check out the Nashville Airport.
I saw it and I passed right by it too, but I heard a lot of good things. Party Foul is going to be on the list when I come back for a CMA Fest coming up in June to take care of some stuff out there too as well. Good to see a lot of great concerts. I know CMA Fest would love to see you guys on a stage out there too. If it does happen, I'd love to come out there and meet y'all individually and just play this great music. Again, the album is called Unbroken. You're not going to find three guys that make it sound so well, such as the guys there at Due West. Hey, appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for being with us. And gentlemen, we got to do this again, no doubt.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch.
Best.
You got it. To the guys from Due West, check out the album Unbroken across all those streaming platforms. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Cole Goodwin stopping by. Sarah Beth Tate, the legend next week. The legend, Barbara Fairchild, here on the show too as well. Remember the Teddy Bear song from the 70s and 80s right there too. We'll talk to Barbara about her new projects and a whole lot more here on the Backstage Pass, HighTideCountry.net, and our friends at KKTC True Country 99.9, always powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Happy tournament watching. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
See.